hates me. All right. We should be good. So anyways, you already know why you're here. You already know why you clicked on this video. So let's just hop right into it. So a year ago, at the start of November, I started my freelance videography thing full time. I quit my full-time job in healthcare to do this. My last day was like November 30th of 2023. And yeah, I loved the ER, I loved everything about it, but I really had to sit down with myself as I was going through it, and I was talking to my videography coach because I knew I had to do that. Thank you, Cam, by the way. I'll throw his link up or whatever. But yeah, I convinced myself to quit because I knew healthcare isn't where I wanted to be in the next 5 to 10 years. I didn't want to be a nurse. I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be anything of that matter, right? I got my fix. I got enough ass wiping to know that is not what I want to do for the next 40 years of my life. So I quit and I started Adams Media completely full time. But yeah, we had a lot of up and downs. And so with that, I'm gonna start with the wins because we took a lot of wins this year as well as we took a lot of losses, but I would most definitely say we took a lot more wins this year than, not that I was expecting, but more than I'm grateful for, if that makes sense. But yeah, let's get right into it. So I quit my job. Things weren't really moving till about February, I would say. I locked in some pretty decent clients that treated me all right and paid me well, and I was able to afford my dream camera, which I'm recording on right now, the Sony FX3. I had been shooting on an A7 III prior. I love that camera, by the way. Don't sleep on the A7 IIIs. Those things are sick. But yeah, I was able to start building up my dream rig. I was able to go to the bank and get approved for a motorcycle loan, and I am so happy about it. I know UHP is not super excited about it, but you guys are gonna have to deal with me later. Not that I'm doing anything horrendous or illegal. And that enough is so insane to me, right? Like, yeah, let's get started with traveling, man. I was able to go like all over everywhere, bro. Like I went to California, like I want to say 3 times, 2 or 3 times. It was 2 or 3 times more than I ever really have ever. Yeah, we also got to fly out to Panama, do some real estate stuff, get to experience a whole new culture. That was insane. Oh my gosh, dude, that was insane. Thank you everyone that was possible for that trip in Panama. That was pretty insane. So like the month after I quit my job in healthcare, I was able to go down to Texas and meet some of the biggest names on social media and motorcycling. And that in itself is also insane, right? I was able to build a pretty good portfolio for my social media off of that trip. Not that it really matters to me anymore, but at the time it was really cool and I got to meet some really cool people that I still talk to this day. Enough about wins, let's focus on the negatives really quick. But yeah, now this is actually probably, the start of this journey is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I feel like I've gone through some pretty hard things in my endeavors before, but this in itself was the most miserable time of my life in the first couple months of getting this thing to run. Okay, let's start it off. So October, right, 2023, Adams Media is officially self-employed. I'm feeling great about the decision. I feel great about not having to wake up at 5 a.m. to go work in the ER with the incandescent lighting and having to wipe ass all day. I'm pretty stoked about that. But what I am not stoked about is my lack of clients. I had next to 0 clients. I had to do a lot of free work to even get some networking done. I was able to get my first contract signed with like a local dealership for like $500 a month, which is not that much, right? When we think about cost of living here in Utah. So on top of that, I made a couple $100 more just from shooting motorcycles and whatnot. But yeah, so November rolls around and I'm honestly struggling with a lot of self-doubt and a lot of negative energy, if I'm being honest. I'm having a really hard time getting clients, and I'm tying that to my value and self-worth. So just not a good combo. And then on top of it, let's throw in the annual situationship with a blonde in the October to December times. Got thrown into that. I thought this was the woman for me. I thought she was going to be amazing to me. I thought I was going to be able to build myself up with her, which I started to, up until things kind of went south, because I think she was able to read through my bullshit. And my bullshit was that I had no self-worth. I didn't feel valuable in the world anymore. And that slightly had to do with leaving the ER. The ER is a very, like, I guess you get to change a lot of lives. And now that I wasn't doing that, on top of not getting any clients, I just felt very negatively about myself, and attaching myself to this person for a dependence of self-worth and value was a terrible combination. She was able to read through that very quick, and left me, told me to never talk to her again. And at the time I didn't know why, but looking back, I totally know why. It's because I was a fucking loser who didn't make any money. I didn't have any self-value. I had no respect for myself either. So yeah, like, shit, that kind of threw a curveball in my life, and I quickly became very, very depressed. I will say this is probably the only time in my life I've actually felt like a weight on my chest, like day in, day out, like just feeling terrible about myself. Like, worst couple months of my life after that November phase. I was still super broke, so I couldn't afford a lot of groceries. I couldn't afford anything to really please myself, none of my recreational hobbies. So yeah, I kind of starved for a couple months. I lost like 20 pounds in a month and a half. And those of you who know me, I'm 6 foot. And at the time, I think I was like 168, right? At 6 foot, which is still like on the leaner side. And I got down to like 145, I want to say, even down to like 140 when it was really bad. But that was only for a couple days before I started eating again. But yeah, no, that was a really terrible time of my life, and I will never let myself go back to that place, because I now know that I can provide value in this world, right? And there's more to me than just holding a camera, and there's more to me than just making videos for the internet. But I wouldn't have been able to lock into that mindset without one of my good friends, Spencer. Spencer, this guy, one of the best investments on a relationship in videography I've made. And he kind of was super real with me, and he was like, hey bro, I know you're really down. I know this girl left you, but bro, get your shit together, man. Like, you're just out here rotting in bed all day. Like, what are you doing to improve yourself? And I really wasn't, bro. I was decaying, bro. I was a corpse. I was nothing, bro. I didn't know who I was. I had no value for myself. I had no respect. And I just laid in bed all day. And it took him being super honest with me, being like, bro, get to work. And I did. And we started working on myself a bit more. I was still down in the dumps, of course, but I mean, I had to put in the work. Like, the reason why I was sad and depressed and angry is because I put myself in that situation to begin with. But yeah, on top of Spencer, I also had a really good friend come in. His name was JJ. JJ was just some kid I knew on Instagram, to be honest. And he like came up to me and he was like, bro, let's go grab lunch. And like, since I had nothing better to do, since I don't have any clients and I do nothing all day, it's like, yeah, why not? Let's go and do it. So I went and did it. And JJ brought upon me the best opportunities at the time and turned my life around, not gonna lie. And I'm so thankful for him. He was able to get me assigned with 2 pretty large contracts at the time, not just $500 a month clients. Yeah, that was rough, but yeah, we got some actual clientele, and from that, my confidence was there, man. Like, it was there. Like, I was a confident dude, and that led to me getting more clients. It led to me being more smart and disciplined with my decisions as a business owner. And yeah, I was able to secure the bag at the time. I got close to my first 5-figure month. I think we were low 9,000s. But yeah, no, insane. And with that, my bandwidth decreased, and I ended up losing a lot of clients because they saw a drop in quality and a lack of relationship, because relationships are very important with your clients. Those of you who don't know, they're like another girlfriend, bro. Like, every single client is like a girlfriend. Like, they need attention, they need to be taken care of. You need to always be checking in on them, making sure everything's okay, or else you're gonna lose it pretty quick, bud. So that's what happened, and we lost like $6,000 to $7,000 worth of retainer clients in like the span of like a week. I want to say like a week or two, and that was really rough. I also lost some relationships with that, and there I kind of was back with a lot of negative self-talk and a lot of negative energy, and I stopped kind of working again. Like, I was kind of just lazy, bro. Like, I just kind of like let things come to me, and you know, I did the best I could at the time, but I could have spent a lot more time perfecting my skill for myself, so that when the right clients come, I can really meet their expectations. And so I had one of my favorite clients to this date, Club Paddock, take me in for a pretty good retainer that I was able to live off of for a couple months. Awesome clients and awesome service as well. You guys should check them out if you're interested. Yeah, they were my only client for a couple of months, and that was scary, you know, and I was like, man, like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to live off of this. Like, dude, like, I'm kind of back to square one in a sense. And so with that, I was like, man, I need to get a full-time job. And so I did. I applied. I got a full-time job thanks to one of my buddies. But dude, like, I wasn't happy, bro. Like, I was no longer doing the thing I loved for work, and that killed me. And it killed my ego too, man. Like, I was like, bro, I couldn't even make it 1 year doing video full-time when, you know, I have nothing better to do. Like, dude, what does that say about me and my character? And you know, shortly after getting the gig with these guys, I got back in contact with a marketing agency I was talking to a while back ago, and they said they needed another guy, and sure enough, I was able to make the cut, and that's what I'm doing now, actually, is working for a local agency here, and they're treating me very well. I'm just in a much better place in my life right now because of them, and I want to thank them. But let's kind of talk about more of the logistics and the things I should have done better. And so let's start with like rule number one, right? Is it's not easy work running your own business, and unless if it's handed to you or something. But even then, man, like, running a business is hard. Like, and on top of that, also me trying to learn my videography skills, like, and learn how to run a business was extremely difficult, because I will say I was mediocre at the time. Like, in comparison to my competitors, absolutely mediocre. So it's like, I was trying to learn and hone in on my skills as an entrepreneur as well as a videographer, and that was very difficult. That was a lot of a stretch for me, but at the same time, I also didn't work very hard. I'm not gonna lie, I did not work as hard as I should have. I did not have the fire in my soul that my friends like Spencer have. So it's like, surrounding yourself with people like Spencer and people who have that fire and that drive and that passion will drastically change your trajectory as a creator. So that is like the number one thing I recommend to videographers that are starting out, is shoot as often as you can and connect yourself with people who are going to be critical with you and also possess more experience than you. You should never be the smartest person in the room, ever, unless you are number one dog. But like, dude, like, who even is that really? Like, everyone has something to learn from everyone, so surround yourself with creatives. Is there anything you prioritize in business that didn't end up being worth your time or money? That would be actually that's actually a really good question, because one of the things I prioritized a lot was my immediate comfort and my immediate dopamine addiction. Really set me back a lot, like a very long way, by prioritizing my comfort in the moment, right? Like, it's not comfortable running a business, bro. Like, it hurts, and you get a lot of rejection, and you get a lot of anger and a lot of self-doubt, and you're never comfortable, bro. So I spent a lot of time trying to like fill the void with things like just laying around all day and doom scrolling and playing Minecraft, bro. Like I actually have a pretty good Minecraft base, by the way. On top of like actual being a videographer, I would say don't waste your time growing your socials. Socials don't matter as much as you think they do. Practice, practice, practice your skills. Stop following trends if you really want to become a talented videographer that people will pay top dollar for. So it's like, just practice your skills. Like, do not be worried about social media. Like, it will come. If that's your goal, is to be like a social media influencer, then full speed, go ahead, try and get those views, follow the trends, whatever. But if your goal is to be a creative videographer, you kind of got to take a step back from Instagram a lot of the times. So that's kind of my advice there. But yeah, that about concludes it. And I just want to say thank you to you guys for supporting me and watching this video. Go ahead, leave a thumbs up if you want. I honestly don't really give a fuck. But like, it helps get the message out to other people. And I feel like that's kind of what my memo is to do, create, and inspire. So the more people this can reach, the more it can inspire. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And with that, I'll catch you guys next year when I do a season 2 recap. But yeah, adios.